So Google just announced 4 huge new updates to search, which I think mark the most profound change to its search engine in the 15 odd years that I've been doing SEO. Today we're going to cover each of these 4 things, and yes, SGE, or now AI Overviews as it's called, is finally launching. These 4 things are really significant. Any one of them would be huge. The fact that all 4 are being launched together, or at least previewed together, is really awesome. So we're going to look at exactly what each one of them is. I'm going to show you some demos. I'm going to explain exactly what this means for you and what you need to do next for each of them. And by the way, SGE launching isn't even the biggest one of these. Let's do this. All right, first up, let's talk about AI Overviews. These are now launching. So these used to be called SGE. So if you've been following Exposure Ninja, you'll have heard us talking about SGE. Well, it's now launching and they're calling it AI Overviews, which makes sense because SGE is a terrible name. Nobody knows what it is. No one can even remember the order of the letters. AI Overviews does exactly what it says in the tin. So if you don't know what these are, this is what it looks like. So if you do a search on Google, you'll see a generative AI answer at the top of the page, and it references certain websites. And then underneath that, you'll see the regular search results. Now, at the moment, these aren't showing for every search. And in fact, actually, the number of searches that they are showing for has been dropping. So back in February, no SGE result for 9% of searches, whereas in May, no SGE result for 58% of searches. So it does look like Google has been showing SGE or AI overviews for fewer searches in anticipation of this launch. Now, of course, the fear that lots of marketers and website owners have is what's going to happen to my organic traffic if Google is just showing content in the search results and not driving people to websites. Well, of course, we were all very excited for this new product to launch because then we would be able to see in Search Console exactly how much traffic we were getting from these AI overviews. Well, I've got good news and bad news for you. Good news, yes, we're going to be able to see the amount of traffic that we're getting. Bad news, we're not going to know whether it's from regular search or the AI overviews because Google aren't going to be breaking that out for us. Now, to be fair, John Mueller from Google has said this is in line with what we do for featured snippets. We don't split out all search features. There are a lot in Search Console. Yeah, sure they don't, but then not all of these other search features so blatantly plagiarize content. So it would be good to see if we're at least getting some traffic from these AI overviews, maybe in the future, but not right now. So what do you need to do? Google is rolling this out in the US now, and it's going to be rolling it out to over 1 billion people by the end of the year. If you are targeting a US audience, you need to be going through your website and optimizing your content for SGE. We have videos on exactly how to do this on our YouTube channel. We've also got a really in-depth blog that tells you exactly how to do this and shows you some examples. So just go and search for SGE Exposure Ninja and you will find those guides. Now, as a bit of a mini update to AI overviews, Google is also going to allow you to tailor these or adjust them. So in this example, you can see someone search for explain the connection between lightning and thunder. They've got the AI overview here, and then they've got these options to make them simpler or break it down in more detail. So this shows that we're actually not just going to have one AI overview for some searches. We may also potentially have 3 AI overviews. So if you're trying to optimize for the AI overview, do you optimize for the original, the simpler, or the breakdown? Only time will tell. This is a feature that is coming soon. This isn't out yet. So we will continue playing with this and monitoring to see how this changes. I would also expect once Google starts rolling this out in labs and people start testing it, some of these breakdowns and simple buttons might start disappearing if it turns out that people don't actually need them. Now, the next update is AI organized results pages. So this is where Google's AI actually changes the layout of the results page and categorizes results under different AI generated headings. Let me show you an example. So the demo here is for the search anniversary celebration dinner places Dallas. And then you can see what it's done is it's actually split out the search results in different sections. So we've got restaurants here, local listings, we've got some Reddit listings here, live music and intimate settings with more restaurants here, romantic steakhouses, we've got some perspectives, some TikToks, we've got some critic picks, we've got more local listings. Then we've got dishes popular for anniversary with beef Wellington and creme brulee. Right. So, I mean, clearly this is an interesting development because what we're seeing is that actually the AI has the power to change the search results page according to the search, which is really sort of interesting. In this particular example, I think someone searched for restaurants. They probably just want to see restaurants. They don't necessarily, if I'm booking a place for Kate and I for our anniversary, I don't necessarily care that people tend to make beef Wellington on their anniversary, particularly as neither of us eat beef. So that's a bit odd. But I think this shows that Google is giving its AI more flexibility and control over the search results pages, and that we're going to be seeing a more dynamic and complex experience in search, right? There is no doubt that this is a more complicated search results page for people to navigate. So it'll be really interesting to see what user feedback is, and I'd be really interested to see your feedback, so let us know in the comments. Now, on to the final two updates, which I think are actually the real juice here. But although before we do that, let me just tell you, if you want some help with this, for example, if you're just hearing about this stuff for the first time and maybe your SEO agency hasn't been updating you on things like SGE, that could be a bit of an issue. This is the future of search. They need to be dialed into this stuff. So if you're hearing about this for the first time, you're thinking, oh, I don't really have my stuff sorted out for this whole new AI search thing, then the team here at Exposure Ninja can help you in two ways. Firstly, if you just want to reach out and have a chat about your SEO campaign or your SEO work, then you can just head over to exposureninja.com and drop us a line. We're very happy to talk about this stuff. We're very happy to do an analysis of your current SEO. The other option is if you want a free website and digital marketing review, one of the team will take a look at your website, your visibility in these new AI search engines. We'll also have a look at things like your paid search, your paid social, your email marketing if you want us to as well as your conversion rate optimization and your website layout. We'll then take all of our recommendations about how to increase your leads and sales and put them into a 15 to 20 minute video, which we send to you completely free of charge. This service is fantastic. It takes us ages to do each one, as you can imagine. So not everyone is eligible. So you do need to go to exposureninja.com/review to fill in the short form if you want to request one of these. That's exposureninja.com/review. Okay, but on to the third and fourth update. So the third update is multi-step reasoning. This isn't live. This is coming soon. I think this is the big one. I was expecting Google to do something along these lines, but to be honest, not for a long time yet. I'm very surprised that we are seeing this early. Now, what I'm going to do is show you a demo of how this works. I think that's probably the easiest way to do this. So here we go from Liz Reed from Google.
The first step. We're making AI overviews even more helpful for your most complex questions. The type that are really more like 10 questions in one. You can ask your entire question with all its sub-questions and get an AI overview in seconds. To make this possible, we're introducing multi-step reasoning in Google Search, so Google can do the researching for you. For example, let's say you've been trying to get into yoga and Pilates. Finding the right studio can take a lot of research. There's so many factors you need to consider. Soon you'll be able to ask Search to find the best yoga or Pilates studios in Boston and show you details on their inter-offers and the walking time from Beacon Hill. As you can see here, Google gets to work for you, finding the most relevant information and bringing it together into your AI overview. You get some studios with great ratings and their introductory offers. And you can see the distance for each. Like this one, it's just a 10-minute walk away. Right below, you see where they're located, laid out visually. And you got all this from just a single search. Under the hood, our custom Gemini model acts as your AI agent, using what we call multi-step reasoning. It breaks your bigger question down into all its parts, and it figures out which problems it needs to solve, and in what order. And thanks to our real-time info and ranking expertise, it reasons using the highest quality information out there.
So I think this is really profound because there's sort of a headline to this section was Google will do your Googling for you. And as a consumer, that sounds great because, you know, that shortens your research time. This is like minutes or even hours of research being condensed into a single search on Google with just a few answers being presented as the output of all of that. But I think for a lot of websites and publishers, this is going to be really, really dangerous Because just taking that example there, the best yoga and Pilates studios, in this certain area, if you think about the entire ecosystem that survives to provide information around searches like that. So there'll be bloggers who have been to some of these studios and they've rated them, or there'll be YouTubers who have recorded their reviews of their favorite local studios. There might be magazine sites that have done comparisons and interviews with the founders. There might be individual yoga studios who've written blogs and detailed guides about all of this stuff. Well, Google is going away and taking that initial complex search, chunking it into all its constituent parts, running those searches, summarizing all of those answers, and then presenting them finally at the end as a few, a small number of options. This is a bit of a black box, right? For all those websites and those publishers that had relied on getting that search traffic as people were educating themselves about a topic, Google wants to take that away. Google wants to do that work for you, but without giving you any of the traffic. So if, for example, let's say that you were a yoga studio and you were a smaller studio, you wanted to compete against these larger local studios. So you offered people some information about your background, and you had a free checklist that people could download to see if they were ready, or to make sure they had all their kit ready for their first session. And you captured their email address and you put them in an email sequence so that when they came along, they were all ready and they knew about your history. Well, all of that has gone now. If you're recommended, great. If you're not recommended, you're not even in the game. So I think this is going to be a really important battleground for a lot of businesses and publishers, getting their business recommended by this multi-step reasoning approach. It's going to be feast or famine, and there's going to be very little top and middle of funnel search volume for some of these searches. Now, of course, it's really early days. We don't know how this is going to pan out. We don't know how many searches Google's going to roll this out for, but I suspect they're going to try and be as aggressive as they possibly can with this. So it's going to be really important to make sure that your business, product, or service is being recommended inside these results. And of course, that's going to lead to more branded traffic, as we said before. Now, my point here is that this is a bit of a black box era of search, and we'll talk about some of the implications of this in a minute. But I think the complexity and the number of different journeys that someone could go through to find your product or service from search is really increasing. Previously, you would have seen exactly how they came onto your website. There would have been a very discrete number of keywords that you were ranking for. You could see which page they came on and how they signed up. Now you're going to be getting potentially a lot of branded traffic, and you're not going to know any of the history of that visitor, because all of the research may have happened actually inside the Google results page, which you have absolutely no visibility on. So this is going to be a really interesting time, and it's going to be fascinating to see how marketers adapt to this sort of black box search thing. I'm really excited, but only because I know a lot of businesses aren't going to adapt to this stuff. And that's going to open opportunities for those who do to be way more aggressive. Okay, let's talk about the fourth part of their announcement then, or the fourth key component of their announcement. And that is the ability to plan. They are bringing planning into their search results. So again, I'm going to show you another example here. In this example, someone has asked for a 3-day meal plan, and the Google search results have basically just completed a 3-day meal plan for them. Let's have a look at exactly what this looks like.
And here you get a plan with a wide range of recipes from across the web. This one for overnight oats looks particularly interesting. And you can easily head over to the website to learn how to prepare them. If you want to get more veggies in, you can simply ask Search to swap in a vegetarian dish. And just like that, Search customizes your meal plan. And you can export your meal plan or get the ingredients as a list just by tapping here.
Now, this functionality is apparently out now. However, when I tried it, I didn't get any AI overview at all. When I tried it for planning a trip, which is the other category that it is now launched for, I got an AI overview, but it definitely wasn't a detailed plan like they showed in the demo. Now, at the time of recording this and at the time of the announcement, they said this was available for meal planning and planning trips. Only those two categories. They plan to announce it also for other areas like party planning, date nights, and workouts. But to me, that sort of small number of use cases is fairly limited, and I think actually those audiences are fairly well served elsewhere online. I'm not really sure that that is the killer application for this. I think much more interesting than the specific examples that they showed for planning in this presentation was actually the fact that Google wants to help you plan and wants to help you plan in the search results. Again, this is going to be quite a profound shift for people, particularly businesses that have content on their website, which is all about helping visitors or helping searchers plan certain activities. If Google's trying to do this in the search results, a lot of that traffic might not even make its way to your website in the first place. All of this can feel like a lot. We're looking at very complex search results here, some of them including AI, some of them not. Some really profound changes to search, which can feel quite overwhelming. And I think a lot of SEOs and a lot of marketers are really scared, and understandably. I think anytime you're trying to understand complexity, though, it helps to come back to what isn't going to change. The things that aren't going to change, people are still going to be buying the same number of products and services from Google that they always have done. In fact, they may even increase the number of products and services they're buying as a result of Google search if they're finding it a more useful place to start their search journey. Because those products and services are still going to be purchased from somebody Googling, so people are always going to Google and they're going to buy things, or at the moment people are going to Google and they're going to buy things. So therefore businesses are going to compete for those eyeballs. They're going to compete to get their websites ranked. They're also going to compete to get their products and services recommended by the generative AI. And I think that this is the next battleground that we SEOs will be fighting in. Businesses will be competing to get these recommendations. SEOs and marketers like Exposure Ninja will be getting our clients recommended in these answers. And we already have some incredibly encouraging test cases of where we've been able to manipulate the generative AI overviews in order to get our clients recommended. So I think that is going to be a really important place for us to compete. The key to winning in this new space, if you want some sort of next steps, firstly is awareness of the types of results that are showing for your searches. You need to be playing with this and seeing what type of searches are bringing up AI overviews, what types of searches aren't bringing up AI overviews. When there is an AI overview, is our brand, is our business being linked? Are we being mentioned? Or is it our competitors? This will help you to work out what you need to do to compete. The next thing we're going to have to get to grips with is getting lots of visibility and mentions across the internet. Generative AI answers are pulling from lots of different types of site. So if your brand or your products or services are being mentioned all around, that's going to increase your chances of being recommended in the generative AI results. We also saw in this presentation lots of mentions of reputation, both Google reviews and Google ratings. And it's important to note the distinction there. A lot of the time, the generative AI will pull text out of the reviews. For example, in this search here, is Exposure Ninja a good agency? Look at how it's pulling information out of different reviews to share in the review panel. But it's also pulling ratings out as well. And I think we'll see more businesses focus on generating Google reviews because in lots of the demos, the Google reviews were the thing that defined whether or not a business was categorized as at best in the area. Particularly for local searches, Google reviews are going to continue to be the most important. Also, another thing that you need to do is subscribe and follow Exposure Ninja. We are digging into this. We were the pioneers in SGE. We were the first to figure out how to rank and share all that information publicly, and we will do the same with all of this new tech as well. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. Go and listen to our podcast as well, where we share lots of other information about this type of thing and keep up to date with this. The final thing I would say is that we are likely to move to a place where it's actually more difficult to attribute conversions in organic search. It may be that we're about to see a bit of a loss of visibility on the user journey that we used to have from search. We're going to see more branded search, and that's inherently more difficult to track and understand the journey that that person has been on. But we need to keep a holistic view of our digital marketing, and in particular, with our search. As we're helping Google to recommend our businesses more often, we might not get the data about how often Google is recommending our business, our products or services. But as long as the work that we're doing seems to be paying back in branded search and organic clicks, we know that this strategy overall is going to be paying off for us. I'm going to leave you with one final iconic tweet from back in 2014. Matt Cutts, ex-head of spam, I think that was his job title at Google, said, if you see a scraper URL outranking the original source of content in Google, please tell us about it. Dan Barker, I think I've spotted one, Matt. Note the similarities in the content text. We may see some legal implications of what Google is doing with AI overviews. If we do, of course, it may have to change how it attributes some of this information. That's a topic for another day. Until then, embrace the chaos and good luck.